My parents sold my boyfriend's car thinking it was mine, to fund my sister's post-divorce getaway. But I turned their betrayal into their worst regret. I, a 26-year-old female, drove to my parents' house in my boyfriend's new SUV because it is a pretty sweet ride, and I really wanted to go on a long drive in it. My boyfriend, Tyler, a 28-year-old male, had been saving up for a really long time to buy a new car, and he has had this one for almost 2 months now. He and I have been together for 2 years, and last month, he moved in with me. My parents live quite far away from me. It is usually a 6-hour drive from my place to theirs, and we meet maybe just once or twice a month. Last weekend, they had invited me over to stay for a couple of days with them since my dad was not doing well because his heart was acting up again. I decided to take the new car after talking to Tyler about it because my old car was in the shop for repairs. I did not tell my parents about it being Tyler's car because I did not think it was relevant. When they asked me whose it was, since they seemed pretty impressed by it, I just told them it was mine. I did not know what it would lead to. I could not have possibly thought that they would sell it. Anyway, on the 4th day of my visit, I had gone to meet a friend, and when I came back, the car was gone. I started panicking immediately because I thought it was stolen, but when I went inside to speak to my parents about it, they told me that they had sold the car. I was shocked, and they explained that when I had shown up with the car, they decided to take a couple of photos of it and sent them to a bunch of their friends to ask if anybody would be willing to buy it. And one of them had found an interested buyer who was willing to pay quite a sum for the car. I honestly do not know what kind of idiot would buy a car without bothering to have the title of the car signed over to them, but I guess they were able to find somebody who was foolish enough or maybe desperate enough to do that. When I asked them what they had done with the money, they told me that they had transferred the funds to my sister so she could take a well-deserved break because her divorce had just been finalized a couple of weeks back, and she needed to indulge herself in some self-care. They had even ordered a pair of diamond earrings and a bracelet for her online. They asked me not to be mad, but clearly, since I had bought the car, I was doing really well, and my sister had blown a lot of money on the divorce, so she really needed this. They could have paid for it with their own money, but they had to save for retirement as well, so they really expected me to be understanding of this and why they had done it. I was so furious that I did not even know what to say to them, and I just started screaming in their faces, telling them that they had screwed up big time because the car was not even mine. It belonged to Tyler, and they would hear from him once he found out about this. My parents had met Tyler a couple of times, but they were definitely not close, so even they received a shock when they found out that the car belonged to him and not me. But instead of being apologetic, they started freaking out and blaming me for not telling them the truth about who the car belonged to. They said that because of my decision to fake it, they had endangered themselves and quite possibly the person who had offered to buy that car. Apparently, they had planned on selling the car without my knowledge, and once I found out about it, they would just convince me not to press charges against them, and that would be it. But now, since they found out that the car did not even belong to me in the first place, they were scared of what was going to happen and started bugging me to talk to Tyler and convince him not to press charges. They claimed that they had been fully convinced that I would not do anything to hurt them, and that is why they had sold the car when they thought it was mine, which is just insane. I do not even know how to make sense of that. Essentially, they were planning on taking advantage of the fact that I was family, and they were going to emotionally manipulate me into letting this slide. But with Tyler, they were not so confident and wanted me to do something to fix the situation. I told them that they could just contact the person who had bought the car and have him return it as is, but they said that they had already sold it and transferred the funds to my sister, so that was not going to be possible. The only reason I was even negotiating with them was not because I wanted to protect them, but because I wanted the car back, because I knew how hard Tyler had worked for it. The fact that my parents were still trying to defend the decision of selling the car for my sister's sake was pissing me off, so I told them that if they did not do what I asked them to, then I would talk to Tyler and make sure that he pressed charges against them. And then we were at a stalemate because they thought that I was being too cruel and that my sister had really been through a lot, so she deserved this vacation and the gifts that they had ordered for her. They claimed that she had been really happy when they had transferred the money to her and told her to take a vacation with that money, and had even mentioned the gift that she would be receiving when she came back home. They could not take that happiness away by telling her that they had canceled the gifts and she would need to return the money as well. So, I told them that I could not care less about her happiness. I just needed the money back or the car, and if they did not do it, I would speak to Tyler. They said that they knew I would not do anything to hurt them, so I got my phone right in front of them, called Tyler, and explained the situation to him while they just looked horrified. I told Tyler that I wanted him to press charges against my parents. I was very pissed off, and I could hear that even Tyler was very upset, so he told me that he was going to speak to his lawyer and do something about this. After the phone call, my parents started screaming at me once again and pushed me out of their house, saying that I was a horrible human being and that I did not deserve to be called their daughter anymore. I was fine with that, but then they started saying that none of this would have even happened if I had just told them that the car did not belong to me, but instead, I had chosen to lie about it, and now they were in trouble because of me. They said that I was just insecure that my boyfriend had a brand new shiny car, and I could not afford to have the same, which is why I was trying to show off in front of them to impress them, because they knew that I was just going to amount to a failure and nothing else. They had been right about it their entire life, and I could not stand that. I found that very offensive. When I tried to argue that I would not even have brought the car with me if I had known what they had in mind, but they said that they had only sold the car because they thought that I was family and that I would understand their predicament. But clearly, I was only interested in faking my lifestyle to impress other people. That was almost 3 days back, and since then, I have been living in a hotel waiting for Tyler to show up here. We have been in touch, but I just cannot help thinking that maybe this is my fault because I did not tell my parents who the car actually belongs to. So, Ida for telling my parents that my boyfriend's car was mine when I visited them? Many of you wanted to know more about my relationship with my family. Well, as most of you might have figured out by now, there is a golden child in the family, and it is obviously not me. It is my oldest sister. She is 7 years older than me, and I do not have a good relationship with her. We have had no contact for the past couple of years, and it is not something that we decided on purpose. It is just something that happened organically. She lives out of state and rarely ever comes back home, and when she does, I do not visit my parents then because we do not get along. My childhood was not that bad, to be honest, even though my parents were kind of biased towards my sister. I never felt like I was being sidelined or anything. This car incident just came out of nowhere. I had no idea that they were capable of doing something so crazy. Trust me, if they had treated me badly my entire life, I would not even have stayed in touch with them. Earlier, it was only little things that used to bother me about my relationship with my parents, but they were very kind to me otherwise and were good parents overall, and that is why I stayed in touch with them and visited them every month. This recent incident, though, just came out of nowhere. I think they are getting old and senile, and that is why they thought that this would be something acceptable and I would just let it slide because I was family or whatever. They were wrong, though. Even the things that they had said towards the very end of our last meeting while they were pushing me out of the house, that they had always believed I was a failure and I wanted to prove them wrong, I do not know where that came from either, because they have always been very supportive of me. They had never implied that I would grow up to be a failure. Maybe they believed it in their hearts, but they never let it show and were very good actors, because I had been totally convinced that they loved me. This whole incident was the first one that was completely out of the blue, and I do not know what could have possibly driven my parents to act this crazy. I mean, I know that my sister's divorce was pretty bad. Her husband had been cheating on her and had still managed to get away with it without paying her alimony and only giving her a dismal amount of settlement money, but still, that is not an excuse for my parents to act like this. Anyway, I hope that helps you guys make sense of why I had to stay in touch with my parents and come to a conclusion about what I should do. It is kind of urgent, so I would appreciate quick advice. I did not want my parents asking questions about what Tyler had done with his car and stuff, so I just decided to tell them one white lie. There was literally no way I could have known that it would lead to all of this, and I do not need to beat myself up about it. And yes, my parents might have treated me decently in the past, but after what they have just pulled, I do not owe them anything. Tyler showed up this morning, and he told me the same thing that people in the comments have been telling me. I do not need to feel regret or guilt related to any of this. He is going to deal with this in his own way, and all I have to do is testify against my parents because he has had his lawyers draw up papers for a lawsuit and is pressing charges against my parents. And you know what? I am going to be with him on this. They totally deserve whatever is coming to them, and they cannot dodge the consequences of this. In the evening, we plan on going to my parents' house and talking to them, giving them one last chance to fix their mistake. But I highly doubt that they are going to do it. Their only priority right now is making sure that my sister gets to indulge herself. I already tried reasoning with them earlier, but they were not receptive to it. If anything, I am pretty sure that they are just going to feed me the same BS this time as well. But Tyler thinks that it is worth a try because he does not want to waste his time fighting this in court when he can just settle it outside of court. If they do not do as we say, then we will have to take this to court. It has been a couple of days, so even they might have lawyered up by now, and I am pretty sure that they are cooking up some lie against me to make them seem like the good guys here. But I know what happened, and all I really need is just the contact number of the guy who bought the car, and I will be able to sort this out in a jiffy. Anyway, since I do not have that right now, we are just going to have to suck it up and talk to them one last time so that we can tell them how bad it is going to end up for them if they do not get the car back at any cost. The one good thing that has happened so far is that Tyler is here with me, so I feel much less stressed out about everything. He has been very kind and compassionate towards me because he knows that this is not my fault, and if anyone is to blame here, it is going to be my parents. Okay, so a couple of things have happened. As I said, we went to my parents' house to speak to them and told them that we were giving them one last chance to fix the situation. But just as we had expected, they did not take us up on that offer. When we rang the doorbell and my dad opened the door to see us, He told me that he knew that he could count on me to realize that what we were doing by getting them into trouble was not right, and that he was ready to forgive me. They were so delusional that they had literally assumed that I was there to apologize to them and not give them one last chance to fix the situation. I found it kind of funny. So, Tyler had to explain that we were there to talk to them about what was going on, and he said that he was here to tell them that he was pressing charges against them, so they had better get the car back or else things would not turn out well for them. My dad got offended and told Tyler that he had no right to speak to him that way when he was standing on his property and asked us to get out of there. But I stood my ground, and I told him that we were not going anywhere until he had given us the contact details of the person he had supposedly sold the car to, because we just wanted the car back. We did not want any trouble, neither for us nor for them. In fact, after this whole debacle was over, I planned on leaving them alone forever. When I said that, my mom came around and said that she did not care that I was threatening her. She knew that she had another daughter to count on, and she was going to make sure that everyone cut me off after that. Tyler and I realized that there was no talking to them about this, so we would just have to go ahead with our threats and do what we had come here to do. So, we left because it was pretty pointless. He then contacted his lawyer and said that he was ready to press charges because he had tried to sort this before going the legal way, and now we were going to do what we had to do. So, that was that, and then we returned to the hotel. Both of us were in a pretty nasty mood since my parents were wasting a lot of time, and it was affecting us badly as well. We were just discussing demanding some settlement money from them as well, along with the car in perfect condition, for all the time that they had wasted and also in case the car had any damages. We were going to get that money from them as well. While we were discussing it, I received a phone call from my older sister. I did not pick up because I could not possibly imagine what she would have to say to me, but then she called me a couple more times, so I finally answered. Then, she started lecturing me about how I was harassing my parents, and it was not right because they had raised me, so I needed to be grateful to them. I was pissed off, as I had already mentioned, and I really did not want to speak to her, so I told her that maybe she believed I owed them something, but considering what they had done, I did not think along the same lines. Things have always been different for her, so it is not like she would even understand where I was coming from. I tried to hang up, but then she said that it was just typical of me to be ungrateful for everything that has been done for me. I got very pissed off because, first of all, I do not even know what she was referring to, and secondly, I think what my parents had done was extremely unethical and stupid, so they definitely did not deserve to be excused by me like she believed they did. And then she made that comment. I asked her what she was referring to because I do not remember a single time I have been ungrateful to my parents, and she had the audacity to say that she was not talking about our parents but she was talking about herself. That caught me off guard because I really could not recall any incident like that, and just as I had expected, she started ranting about something arbitrary that had taken place years ago. She told me that she had decided to go no contact with me. If you guys remember, in my original post, I had mentioned that neither of us had decided to go no contact. It just happened organically, so I do not know where that came from. Apparently, because of my ungrateful behavior, she believed that back then, I got a high-paying job because of her. My sister and I work in the same field, but even then, I was really shocked by that claim she made on the phone because I could not remember anything like that happening, and I was very lost. And then she started explaining, you know what, just hold on, guys, her logic is going to blow your mind as well. Apparently, she believed that she was the one responsible for me getting that really great job back then because she had decided to move away with her husband and had withdrawn her application a couple of days after she had applied, after which I got selected eventually. In what universe does that make her responsible for getting me the job? I will never know. Anyway, she believed that she was owed a thank you after she decided to move away and left the job to me, and when I did not thank her for anything, she decided that she was never going to speak to me again until I acknowledged what she had done for me, which never ended up happening. So we did not speak for the past couple of years. I was so confused because I did not even know what she was playing at, trying to make it seem like I was ungrateful when I did not even know about any of these expectations that she had from me, and even if I had known, I would not have thanked her because they were completely unreasonable. I told her off instantly, and I said that she was in no way responsible for me getting the job. I am just as qualified as her, and I was just a bit younger at the time, but even then, I am pretty sure I got the job because of my own hard work and perseverance and not because she opted out. I told her that I did not care if she thought that I was ungrateful. I just wanted her to leave me alone, and I said that I was going to make sure that my parents returned the car to me in perfect condition, and if she thought that it was unfair on my part, tough, because I was not going to change my mind. She was a fool to think that she could call me, say such stupid things to me, and then try to make me feel differently about this situation. I also told her that obviously she would never find any faults in our parents because she had always been treated like a princess, and I had been treated like I was just a normal kid. Even though I had never resented any of them for this, it was about time that I started acknowledging it. Then, I hung up and blocked her, and now we are no contact permanently. I am making sure of that. After the phone call, I discussed things with Tyler, and we are not sure if our parents put her up to this, but if they did, they just made things worse for themselves. Anyway, it has been an incredibly long day, and it is almost 1 in the morning now. We have another long day ahead of us tomorrow as well, so I'm just going to try and get some rest. It was very important for me to vent out my feelings here because even though I did speak to Tyler about it, I just wanted to talk about it some more and get it completely out of my system, and that is why this was such a long update. So, thanks for sticking by until the end. It means a lot to me for the ones who read it all the way through. See you guys soon. I will keep you guys updated on what happened next, and hopefully, my parents will not put up much of a fight anymore after this because I'm really sick of everything, and I just want to go home to my normal life now. So it is around noon right now, and as it appears, Tyler and I might not have to go to court at all. This morning, my parents showed up at the hotel and started trying to get us to stop whatever it is that we were planning on doing. When we got a phone call from the front desk this morning, I was confused about whether I should let them up or not, but Tyler said that maybe we should talk to them because they might have changed their minds after last night, so we let them up. And when they were in our room, they started apologizing profusely, saying that they had thought things over after last night, and they really did not want any trouble, so they would really appreciate it if we could settle this out of court. They told me that they had contacted the man who had purchased the car from them and were talking to him, trying to convince him to come back. Apparently, he was ready to go on a cross-country road trip, but I personally think he might have been planning to run away because I cannot think of anybody in their right mind who would have been willing to buy a car that they did not even have the title to, and this was apparently coming at a really inconvenient time for him. But they were able to manage to convince him somehow, promising him that they would return $2,000 more than the amount that they had sold the car for. So, we might be getting Tyler's car back after all, and we are really happy about it because we are relieved that we do not have to stay here for long, since the guy who bought the car will be showing up at my parents' place in a couple of days to return the car. Getting involved with the car here would mean staying here for several days, and we did not want that, so this is a better option, to be honest. My parents also tried to apologize to me for their behavior and said that they had realized how wrong they had been, but I told them that it was completely unnecessary because no matter what they said at this point, I had made up my mind, and I was going to cut them off as soon as I went back home. They seemed a bit unhappy about that and said that they really wanted to make it up to me, but I told them that my decision was final, and I really did not want to speak to them because this had been a terrible experience for me, and they had completely humiliated me in front of my boyfriend the day before and had been insufferable since they sold the car without my consent, so I really did not want anything to do with them after this. They looked very upset while they were leaving, but at least this nightmare is going to be over now, and Tyler and I can finally go back home. So a couple of weeks have passed, and we got the car back. It was in the same condition that we had kept it in, so thankfully, my parents did not have to pay any damages. But they found out about the car just in the nick of time because if the guy had taken it on the cross-country road trip, things would have been much different. Anyway, my parents drove the car down to our place and tried to speak to us to apologize to me once again and get me to talk to them, but I told them that now that the car had been delivered, we had nothing more to talk about. They were really desperate too, and I could tell that they really wanted to continue being a part of my life because I do not think that they are getting any grandchildren from my sister anytime soon. But Tyler and I made it very clear that we did not want them loitering around our house and made them leave by threatening to call the cops on them when they said that they were going to stand around until I forgave them and said that I would keep in touch as I had previously. It was their own rotten behavior that had changed everything for us, and they needed to realize and acknowledge that until they did so, nothing would ever change. Anyway, that was 2 weeks ago, and recently, Tyler proposed to me, and we are hosting an engagement party at our place this weekend. Invitations have already been sent out, and I have heard from a couple of relatives that my parents and my sister are very upset that they did not receive one since they thought that at least something as big as this would make me reconsider our situation, and I would extend a hand of peace towards them to make things right again. I would say it was a pretty unrealistic expectation to have for me because none of them had been kind to me, and Tyler and I were on the same page about whether we wanted them at our party or not. We did not. It is a really important day for us, and if they cannot be nice to me, they do not deserve to be around me. Besides, even if I thought about making things right with them and inviting them, then the day would become entirely about us and our family drama and not about our engagement, so we decided to steer clear of that. And they kind of shot themselves in the foot by talking about this to our relatives because they definitely did not have any nice things to say about me. They thought that I was being bratty and kind of silly by blowing things out of proportion. Well, so maybe I will just stay this way and keep my distance from them, and then they will not have to deal with my battiness anymore.